For me, it's the same, right? I have a bias towards the kids that other people kick out their class, schools put out, systems lock up. That's the majority of my background, and so we're looking for the underdogs. We're looking for.
Welcome to the IAAQLI 6 Pillars in Action podcast, where we deep dive into the transformative impact of the work being done in Indianapolis Black communities. Get ready to be inspired by the incredible projects and organizations making a real difference in the lives of Indianapolis residents. And that conversation starts right now.
Welcome to another episode of the 6 Pillars in Action podcast, where we take an in-depth look at the incredible work that the IAAQLI is doing here in Indianapolis, or the Indianapolis African American Quality of Life Initiative. It's long, so we just say IAAQLI. Today, we have the pleasure of talking to some folks, some contractors with the Peace Learning Center. For those of you who don't know, the Peace Learning Center has been serving Indianapolis for nearly 3 decades with a mission to educate, inspire, and empower people to live peacefully. I know that they've been around for a long time because
Absolutely.
I was just saying that, like, I went on a field trip to Peace Learning Center when I was like in 6th grade at John Marshall.
A while ago.
And I'm a little old. Not real old, but just a little bit. So they definitely been around for a while.
Yeah.
So first of all, I know you all aren't necessarily like with Peace Learning Center,
Right.
but you're contractors with them.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I want you all to introduce yourselves.
Absolutely.
And then tell us in what capacity this partnership is working for you all.
Yeah, so my name is Brandon Randall. I'm the founder of True Colors Consulting, and I have been contracting with the Peace Learning Center for the Indy Peace Leaders Program since 2023. And so I'm the main facilitator, supervisor of the program, and we started out at Tech as a pilot, and this past year we expanded to Tech, Harshman, and then here at Warren Central High School, and then that's how I met Coach Q, who serves as one of the staff liaisons.
Oh, nice. We'll call you Coach Q.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
My name is Coach Q. I'm the intervention specialist here for Team Motivate in the Warren Central and the Freshman Learning Center. And my role with the Peace Learning Center and with Mr. Brandon is to try to get the kids that's at risk, get them together and find a place for them here at Warren and try to guide them into be leaders, something that they have, but they need more attention to try to bring it out.
Yeah, that's amazing. So how did you guys get connected with Peace Learning Center? Like, how was that alignment for you all?
Yeah, so I've known Peace Learning Center for a while. I've done trainings with them before. I've been in the nonprofit space for almost 2 decades. And so
you got a little age on you too.
I got a little age on me. And actually, after I left my last nonprofit job and went independent, they had reached out and was like, hey, we have this program we want to kind of create and jumpstart, and we want you to lead that. And so I created the curriculum for the program using some of their curriculum and other curriculum around social emotional leadership development, emotional intelligence, and kind of just put a package together.
Mm-hmm.
And then we look for staff liaisons in each of the schools that we work with. And so when we met with Warren, we were like, we need staff who have a really good relationship with the kids, can acknowledge the ones and identify the ones who are, we call them at promise instead of at risk.
Okay, at promise.
The ones who are at promise, which means the ones who, they've demonstrated some sort of leadership, whether that's positive or negative. They also may have some academic behavior or attendance struggles. They might be justice involved, but at the end of the day, they are still leaders and they are still capable of being a positive influence, not only here at the school, but in their family and their community as well.
Oh, that's amazing. So when you heard about this opportunity, what made you feel like, oh yeah, like that's me?
I felt that once I heard about it, and my role inside the building of Warren Central is like, as the interventionist, I get to go out to the middle schools, and I get to talk to the teachers there, and they end up giving me the information, what we need about the kids that end up was in juvie, or the kids that got kicked out, or the kids that did this, but they just need guidance. So I get the information right before they even come to the high school. So when they come to the high school, then I know once I linked up with him, I'm like, okay, well, then these students right here is perfect students for this. So being the interventionist here helped me pick a lot of these kids because I end up going around the community in Warren Township to see most of them before they even got to Warren Center.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, that's amazing. So with these kids, you know, it's funny because right before this we were saying there is no bad kids,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And there is no at-risk kids.
Absolutely.
It's just at-promise kids.
That's right.
So what kind of kids do you all look for, or like what are those? And too, I'm always curious about this too. Is there a cutoff? Like, is there somebody who's just like, you know what, this. It's beyond us
too
at
much.
this point. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's beyond us at this point. Do you feel like there's a point like that, or what do you guys look for in your participants?
I mean, ask for first.
Go ahead.
Yeah. When this came up, I try to. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I was going to all of the middle schools, and at Warren we call it our love list. So these the kids that need extra hands around and extra arms, which is the kids that probably most of them do have an IEP, but they need way more attention. So as I got them and I started talking to them and hearing from the principals and the deans from other schools and some of the teachers telling me that this student is probably not going to work or whatever, like at Promise, Promise. Them the kids that I gravitate towards more.
Yeah.
More. So the teachers and the deans and principals at the middle school give me a first look like, hey, this kid right here is like this. And that's the kid I really want.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the kid I really want. And there's no one that I said that no is not going to be a part, because I feel that every kid is reachable. It all depends on what avenue you take to get to that kid.
Yeah, I love that.
For me, it's the same, right? I have a bias towards the kids that other people kick out their class, schools put out, systems lock up. That's, the majority of my background. And so, we're looking for the underdogs. We're looking for the ones who, maybe they haven't heard a lot of positive affirmation. Maybe they're navigating trauma and still trying to find out what a healthy coping skill is.
Yeah.
And so when they come into this program and in this space, we talk about a lot around identity and image. We start out with that. And it's funny because the very first activity that we do is I have them make a list of 10 positive traits about their personality. And to be honest, a lot of the times young men struggle with that. They're like, wait, besides the athlete, what else is there about me? And I'm like, you was just in the hallway with your friends. So you're compassionate, team player, caring, charismatic, empathetic. And so we go down the list and they're like, yeah, that's me right there.
Yeah.
And sometimes they just need a little extra boost. But what we love to see is when their peers start jumping in. And it's like, yeah, bro, like you that guy, you him. And so it's like you start seeing this community form where you got these random kids being pulled together in a school who at first maybe didn't even like each other.
Right.
We've had that at Tech, where we had ops in the same program. By the end of the entirety of the program, now they've seen each other in the community like, all right, you bro, because we was in that program together.
Yeah.
And so you're seeing this de-escalation, this reduction of conflict simply because relationships were built.
So with IAAQLI, I know you said last year you were at one school and now you're at 3. Was that a part of the expansion, or
Absolutely.
what role has IAAQLI played in this?
Absolutely, yeah. So in 2023, that was the pilot year for Tech. And so the funding was used to get that pilot program going. And so since it went so well the pilot year, we were able to expand to 3 cohorts. This year we're expanding to 5 cohorts.
Wow.
So we're seeing significant and incremental increase. And this year we actually have a girls program as a pilot over at Tech. And hopefully we're going to bring that to all the schools. When I met with them.
Oh, so it's only been boys up to.
It's only been boys.
Okay.
So when we met with them, I was like, yeah, we got a girls program at Tech. They're like, dang, like we're jealous. Like when did we get that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're hoping to just continue increasing, building capacity, and then being able to really replicate and expand even more.
Yeah. And so you guys have applied for the next round.
I have been
Yay.
told that Peace Learning Center has done that.
Yay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Amazing.
Yeah.
So that you all can continue to expand and grow.
Absolutely.
Is there plans for sustainability even beyond that?
Yeah, we're hoping to find other sources of funding, but as far as leadership sustainability, one thing that we're starting this year is we actually have alum of the program serving as program assistants.
Yeah.
And so the first one that got kind of recognized was here at Warren. His name is Jose. And it was supposed to be him and another student, and that second student wasn't available. So when we met, I said, "Oh, Jose, you just got a promotion. You're senior program manager."
Yeah.
He looked at, "I'm senior program." He said, "What do I got to do?" I said, "You're going to be the first touch point of the 20 young men in the program. So they're going to see you before they see him
Right.
and before they see me, right?" And he was like, we got a list yet?" And I was like, "We got a list." And he was like, "Okay." He said, "Well, when you bring, because I make personalized welcome letters." He was like, "Am I going to help you pass them out?" Like, he was so excited. And for me, that is, we know what the root causes of violence are. We know what the root causes of antisocial behavior are. And a lot of times that is a low self-confidence, low self-esteem, and a low self-efficacy. By him being in this role, he already had a good level of confidence, but you could see it just booming.
Yeah.
And like that level of pride and responsibility. And then he recommended his peer, and they had a whole conversation with him. He was like, "I just want these kids to know that, I was there and I'm not the same person, and they're going to do great." And so just having that, and we're going to pay them. So they'll get a stipend, a monthly stipend, and the students in the program get a stipend as well, because they're all hired on as contractors.
I love that.
Absolutely.
So most of you know that, like, I have 4 boys from senior down to
Bless your
third
heart.
grader. Yes, I have 4. And one of the things that I love every single morning, so my middle schooler, he goes to Stony Brook, and I put him on the bus every morning. I walk into the bus stop, I stand there with him, I hug him, I kiss him, I put him on the bus, and then as the bus pulls away, he always waves at me, right? Every single morning, okay? This is a 12-year-old boy,
Right.
Yeah.
okay? He don't care about none of what you got
No.
to say. I'm going to hug, kiss my mama, and wave to her, right?
Right.
But one of the things that I love is there's 4 other kids on the bus now that wave at me every morning.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
And so when the bus pulls up, there's one in the front seat that waves.
Hey,
There's 2 girls that
yes.
wave toward the middle, and then there's him. And I think every time that happens, I sit there and think, boy, we think these kids are just so,
Yes.
Absolutely.
And it's like, these are still little bitty kids.
They are.
Yes.
And positivity is contagious.
Yeah.
And when you help young people unlearn the trauma, unlearn the negativity, then they will absolutely embrace positivity and affirmations. And I embarrass my kids all the time. They'll go in to dap me up. "I'm gonna hug you," and we're gonna hug in public in these hallways at Warren Central High School. And they don't mind. Like, they're like,
Yeah.
"That's just Mr. Brandon. Like, y'all know how he is." Of course, but that's a bond there.
They
Yeah.
need
Yes.
love.
For sure.
My God, they need some love. And I love that you said that you all start with identity.
Absolutely.
Because it's so hard to help you go anywhere if you don't understand, like, who you are and where you are,
Right.
right? So with this funding, so has there been, like, I know you just told me a success story even without me asking, but is there any more, like, is there other things or trends that you're seeing from this program? Like, what are you guys getting out of this?
I know for me, it is, they want to come back to the
Yeah.
program. Whether that's because they get paid or they're just trying to be in the program, who knows, right? But we're seeing a lot of staff really trying to catch on to how this program is powerful.
Oh, that's amazing.
Because a lot of times when you have school-based programming, it's the program and then it's school. So what we're trying to do is make sure that everybody is on the same page, because once I leave, I'm only in this school once a week, and so these kids still have teachers and coaches, and so that pattern of affirmation and reiteration has to continue. And then I'll say for him, and then he can go, but we have been blessed to have him and Miss Simpson and even Principal.
He said, yeah, he
And
knew you
then-
was gonna
yeah,
say
I
that.
know.
and even Principal Masimba,
Yeah.
because them 3 really understood the purpose of this program. This is not a general program. We get a little raw and real in these sessions, And having him and Miss Simpson as the staff liaisons, they get it. Not everybody that as a teacher gets it, but they get it, and they help reinforce these values.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
And to piggyback on some of the things that he said, I see the difference from our kids. That's when they left from freshman and they going over to the other side of the building.
Yeah.
Now everyone know Warren is under 1,000,000 square foot. The building is huge.
Yeah.
Huge. I still have deans from the other side of the building, counselors from the other side of the building, asking me about the kids that we was in the program last year, want to come back to the program, and I'm doing another group.
Yeah.
So, and then sometimes the teachers on this side don't get the chance to reap the benefits that what they put in over here, because they on the other side of the building, and they doing amazing over there. There now, I get to see it because they always try to find me, find me. But they do a great job, and a lot of them, they done did a phenomenal job by going on to the other side of the building, and they done just got better. And it's good to see, because some of them, like he said, the Jose, he recommended another student, which is Morel, which last year they won. They was oil and water.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They was oil and water, and when Morel heard what Jose recommended him,
Absolutely,
because his first thing he's like, man, I need to go find Jose just to talk to him and like, you know what I'm saying, and thank him and everything. But they didn't get along the year before.
I
You know,
love
so
that.
now they're gonna be working together.
Yeah, now
Y'all
they're working
gonna,
together.
when y'all get there, y'all gonna have like some kind of senior get together at the end,
For
so
sure.
the
Yes,
teachers
yes,
can
yes.
see the fruits
Yes.
of what they put
Absolutely.
into these kids. So how can folks get connected? And tell me more than just through the schools, right? But also even with your organization outside of the schools. How can folks get connected?
So, I mean, I'm on social media, but when people ask me that question, I usually tell them, find the young people in your circle, right? Find the young people that other people are not engaging with. Ask them if they've eaten. Ask them how their day went, and just try to build your own community. As far as how can people support the work that I do, by that, right?
Yeah.
Being visible, being vocal. There aren't enough advocates for young people, especially young people who have been in the system, and we need more people to be visible and vocal, and hold their elected officials accountable, because they should be vocal and visible as well.
That's a fact. Is there a website, social media?
Yeah, so my website is truecolorsindy.org, or people can reach me at truecolorsindy@gmail.com.
Okay, awesome. Thank you all so much for
Thank
being
you for
here
having
today,
us.
for telling us more about this
Absolutely.
stuff. So we will be back soon, and we'll do a quick recap of other interviews that we've done, so you guys can get a better snapshot of what IAQLI has really been doing in our community. We'll see you when you get back.
Coming up next on the 6 Pillars in Action podcast, we'll continue our conversation with IAAQLI leaders. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and visit the IAAQLI website to learn more about the incredible work being done and how you can get involved.
Welcome back to the 6 Pillars in Action podcast. We are going to spend the next little bit taking a walk down memory lane on some of our interviews that we've done this year, just kind of highlighting some of our favorites. The first one up is Leslie Andrews with the National Urban League. I love that you were talking about we all play a role in like this larger vision and larger movement. And I think in some ways, some people don't like that because they like to be a big fish in a small pond. But for many of us, it's like it's also comforting in that, it's not all on me. I just play my little role in this bigger thing, and we all get to work together to make this big thing happen. Because to say that you're going to improve the quality of life of Black folks, even like just in a single city, is such a huge task.
Yes.
Like that is a tall order, and I'm sure it comes with like a lot of pressure.
Well, and my thing often when I do interact with grantees is to get them to understand that this is literally a global experiment. In the world of philanthropy, and especially trust-based philanthropy, which is the new coinage in terms,
Yep.
it's a lot to just give you the money and say, hey, you go do it, and we trust that what you bring forth will be a direct response to what you say your needs are. So we have to trust that you even know what your needs are.
Yeah.
And we have to trust that you and or the folks selected are the ones to actually address those needs effectively. And then we have to also trust that when those needs are addressed, the very reason that the money was given will be achieved. Because the rest of the philanthropic community is watching this, because this is the reverse of how philanthropy has traditionally been done, and is definitely the reverse of how Lilly Endowment has done it in that sense. So they're trusting us nationally to be able to oversee what's happening locally. And I would venture to say through my visits that most people in Indianapolis aren't accustomed to being this type of focal point. I don't even think they realize the scale. We don't want to scare them, but yes, this is a larger thing that is happening in scale.
Yes.
For a certain group of folks in a large city. This is not the biggest, but in a fairly large city, there's a lot of politics around it.
I was going to ask about that.
There's a lot of politics around
yeah.
it. There's a lot of politics on every level around it. But more importantly, it's you don't drill that into the grantees too much, because you want them to stay focused on what they proposed.
Right.
But you do remind them that, hey, you are a part of something larger, so your reporting needs to be clear and on point. It needs to be a story that I can take back to New York and then give to my EVP and our CEO, and then he can tell the board. Yeah. Because everyone has been interested in this from day one.
That was a great interview with Leslie. Now we're going to shift to Larry Smith with Fathers and Families Center. When you applied for IAQLI, I know, like many of us, we were like, what? The Black community is getting $100 million. So when you heard about this opportunity, talk about how you saw it as a specific opportunity for your organization.
Well, we are about 90% grant funded. I'm trying to change that. I want to ensure that we have a better balance of individual donations, corporate sponsorships, earned income, and investment allocation. But at the end of the day, at this point in time, we are grant dependent. And so when I saw the announcement from Lilly Endowment, I thought, well, it sounds like that fits very well with what we're trying to do. And so we applied and fortunately received a couple of grants.
So how has it enabled you, and how's it impacted your work positively?
Well, the first grant that we received went to workforce development. So some of the other things that we do, if you did not graduate from high school and you're interested in a GED, we will pay for your GED. And so last year we had 19 men who graduated with their GED. By the way, we work with Warren Township for that. Secondly, workforce development. We help men find, again, jobs or careers with a family-sustaining wage, which leads to the second grant, which helped fund our construction training center. We opened up a construction training center in conjunction with Eastern Star Church on East 30th Street, and the men graduate from that program with the ability to go out and get a job in construction. So again, you go from an average income of about $11,000 to a job that will pay you $30, $40, $50 an hour.
So I'm curious, because this is something that I advocate in our community about all the time. Are you guys super intentional about the employment opportunities you connect fathers with? Because and I'll say this briefly, but my dad drove a truck when I was growing up, so he wasn't home most of the week. I saw him, he might as well been, my parents might as well not been together. I only saw him on weekends, right? And I think how detrimental that can be to a home, not having that father present. He's financially present, but not having his presence. So are you guys intentional about the employment opportunities that you're connecting these men with?
We are, but ultimately it's their decision. But it's interesting you mentioned, so one of the training opportunities we offer is CDL, right? And so we encourage them to go to Indigo, which is one of our partners. If you go to Indigo to get CDL training, you'll go to work for them and you're home every night.
Right.
So that's very, very important.
Yeah. Next, we'll look back at an interview with Teresa Lubbers from the Sagamore Institute. With your, specifically the work that the IAAQLI funding has allowed, can you talk about your partnership with InnoPower and what that looks like?
Well, first of all, we have to give a great credit to Lilly Endowment for the generous contribution of $100 million that came to support this kind of work, whether it's small organizations that are making a difference or large ones. My understanding is that there are grantees on all sizes of those and making a difference, and the funding allowing them to scale that. Working with Emil Echior and InnoPower, which we've done for a long time, as I mentioned, he is so focused on intergenerational wealth creation. And so the reason this really aligns with us is we're concerned about education, entrepreneurship, employment, the impact of technology, all of those issues which actually Emil, in his brave, courageous way, said, I'm willing to try to tackle some of those. And so in particular, he's looked at, we're very supportive of what he's been doing with Indie Business, BizPass, which allows entrepreneurs in the Black community to actually have a place with low cost or no cost at all to actually, jumpstart their businesses and have a place to work. It provides not only a physical place to do that, but collegiality among people who do that as well. Because often, especially entrepreneurs who are starting, feel that they're out there on their own. And a small amount of money can make a significant difference in allowing them to build their business to the next level. So yes, they're supporting the beginning entrepreneur, but with a vision of how to take that entrepreneur to the next level. So you've had, I think 220 businesses through Indie Business Pass who have actually been able to take advantage of a place where they can actually birth their business. Then the other thing that he's received, so he received, significant funding for that. I think it was over $400,000. They received the second wave of the grants that came through. There was a first wave, and I think they're in the process of the fourth grantees that were coming on board fairly soon. He was really in the second phase of those grants. And the other thing that he's been doing, he's been working with Indiana Wesleyan and what's called Blazing Academy to make sure that we're building equity into the business community of technology in the Black community as well. Because what you don't want to do is look back and say, we left lots of people behind by not giving them the opportunity to really engage in what are going to be high growth and high wage jobs. So he's working with them to actually provide, this is sort of inside baseball. I don't even know what it is when I say this, but it's called prompt engineering. I sound like I know what I'm talking about. But prompt engineering is a very important new way of actually using technology and answering questions. And Blazing Academy has been involved in doing this, and Indiana Wesleyan. So his goal is, it's a teach the trainer. Teach the trainer kind of thing. That's exactly the terminology that he would use. So you have a small number that then teach the others. It's already had, I think, 1,000 graduates doing that in a short-term period of time. So his vision is to actually create wealth in the technology community for Black entrepreneurs and Black individuals.
That was an incredibly informative interview. And next, we'll take a look at the interview with Brandon Cosby from Flanner House. About with you guys' positioning and history in that community. I know obviously throughout the years it's probably spurred a lot of collaboration. So how have you worked with other, maybe community members or other organizations in your community to really create that collaborative spirit and connection as you guys do this incredible work?
We do a lot of collaboration on the farm side, the different growing operations, Black growers that we provide not only technical assistance to, that we've been able to work as we've developed our agriculture program, but then to also provide retail outlets for a number of Black businesses. So between Ujamaa, our bookstore, and the bodega and the cafe, we have over 140 different makers, culinary artists, designers who have their goods or their products on the shelves in our stores.
140. Oh my God.
Absolutely.
And they're local?
Yes.
Are they all local?
They're all local.
That is incredible. Oh my gosh.
And so when you walk into Ujamaa, for example, everything that you see on the shelves that's for sale that is not a book was made by Black hands from this community.
That is incredible.
All of the art that's hanging on the walls in the cafe at Cleo's, all of that it's all for sale, number one, but number two, all produced by local artists. Londo's Flame Aid, Nature's Tea Company, Chef Oya with the Trap and her Trap butters that we sell on the shelf in the grocery store. But we also use her butters to make our grilled cheese sandwiches. So really looking at that opportunity to create economic intersectionality between these existing businesses where we give them an opportunity to have their products available to folks every day on the shelves or directly out of the case.
I love the intentionality of supporting Black-owned businesses and then also giving them space so that others can support them too.
Yes.
I think that's underrated, like in our community. Like we think about like supporting them and buying their products, but we don't think about but you can also support them in giving them space to continue to sell their products to others too.
And that was really important to me when I got there. So even when I got there and I looked at every single dollar that was going out of Flanner House to any local business, and I terminated most of those contracts and found local Black businesses that could provide those same services. And we generally found that we got better services for a more reasonable or affordable price point. And so we really work really hard to make sure that if a dollar is going out, it is going to support another local Black business.
And finally, we'll hear more about IAAQLI's future from their leaders.
Well, with this final round, one of the things that's important for the community to know is we're 5 years into this work, $60 million awarded in grants to over 100 community organizations. And so we're starting to see the fruits of some of those investments. We're starting to see housing units pop up across town. We know that we have educators who have earned credentials and certifications. We know that we're making strides in impacting health disparities in the community. And we know that we have created pathways for individuals seeking employment, as well as also for businesses and entrepreneurs to further stabilize their businesses. But, in this round, of course, we're going to be seeking opportunities for more of our grantees to collaborate. And so a good example would be, how do we create efficient and cost-effective housing for families, multifamily housing units. And so you're going to see partnerships in that space. You're going to see us have school districts work together to address issues in the learning environment in their schools. So we want to make sure that our children have the opportunity to get the resources and the instruction and skills necessary to ensure that they succeed in the classroom. We also are going to see investments in civic engagement and leadership, because we recognize that, again, we have to continue to make investments in organizations and individuals to ensure that this nonprofit safety net, if you will, is really strong. We consider the legislative efforts that are underway both at the federal and state level. We now know that the nonprofit community is going to be called on to step in and to fill the gaps.
Yes.
Because there are going to be some, and there's no escaping that. And so how do we make sure that our leaders are ready, that our organizations are ready, and that they're also competitive for funding for additional sources? Because that's going to be an important part of this work too. As you share, we're approaching the last round with the Quality of Life Initiative, and so our organization and those leaders need to be prepared to pursue funding from, other entities.
Thanks for watching the 6 Pillars in Action podcast. To see all of our old episodes, you can follow us on social media. You can watch us on YouTube at IAAQLI. We look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks for watching.
We hope you enjoyed today's 6 Pillars in Action podcast and learned more about how the IAAQLI funding is impacting our city. And remember, to stay up to date on what's happening with IAAQLI and the 6 Pillars in Action, subscribe to the podcast in Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. You can also check out the 6 Pillars in Action newsletter, blogs, and other videos on our website at iaaqli.org. Until next time, let's continue to celebrate the power of transformation. See you next time.